Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 10-game NBA main slate on Saturday. Pretty big size slate for Saturday, but that's because we have the Super Bowl on Sunday. And I think there's only 2 games early on Sunday, so that's why we're seeing a pretty big Saturday slate, which, again, we don't normally see. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make content for daily fantasy sports, for NBA Top Shot, and for Prize Picks. If you are unable to watch the YouTube videos, I do also upload an Apple Podcast. Link is down below. It is called the DK DFS Show. And if you want more in-depth content for daily fantasy sports, I offer that on patreon.com, also down below. The sponsor of this video, guys, is Roast Umber. So if you guys are a coffee lover, you got to give Roast Umber a try. And they're a small company from Grand Rapids, Michigan. And yeah, I really like their coffee. I really like their nitro cold brew. So if you guys want to try it out, if you're a coffee lover, you can use code DKDFS for 20% off your order. Would greatly appreciate that. Help those that help me. Okay, so before we get into players and the prices, we can take a look back lineup here from tonight. So after a really good stretch last 3-4 slates with no bad luck, we've been cashing every single day in tournaments. Well, right back to the bad variance and the injuries, right? So John Collins, injured. Goga Batadze, I'm pretty sure he got injured. That's where the rumors he got hit in the head, and he only played a couple extra minutes after that. Like, he barely played. So we'll count it as 1.5 injuries. If you want to count it a benching or, possible concussion for Goga, whatever. 1.5 injuries. So, yeah, just absolutely no chance when you have, if you're trying to, when you have 1 injury in your lineup, it's almost impossible to cash in tournaments. When you have 2, no way, right? But I did have some guys that hit. Obviously, Chalk LaMelo went off. DeJounte Murray went for 80 fantasy points. Relatively low on 26%. Devin Vassell was also smashed. He was very popular. Bones Highland was a little bit of a bust. He got into some foul trouble, and they closed with Campazzo. And I was talking about this on Patreon, how I think one of the biggest edges in DFS still is you will see that the good plays actually go over-owned in tournaments, right? Like, Bones Highland was definitely one of the best values. But I talked about how Campazzo is going to get no ownership. And I thought he had a similar chance of success. And you saw, 1 or 2% Campazzo and 50% Bones, and Campazzo smashed. I also brought that up for Vassell and Lonnie Walker. Now, that didn't work. But, again, the ownership differences are massive this year, right? You're seeing actually the best plays get the ownership and actually go over-owned in tournaments. Korkmaz was a little bit disappointing. I'm a little bit tilted about that, to be honest. Expected more from him. He only shot 3 times. And then, yeah, Goga, Collins injuries, and D'Lo didn't do anything. I swear, I don't know if I've gotten D'Lo right once. The Minnesota guys, it's just, if I take a shot in one of the Minnesota big 3, it's the other 2 that smash. It's just a lock to happen. I'm just I cannot get those guys right. It's so frustrating. But yeah, so again, after a hot streak of no bad luck, we're right back to the bad luck in this on this slate. So I hope you avoided the injuries and got into cash. As far as ownership and higher stake stuff, so again, there was a lot of busts. Let's see. Goga Batadze was massive chalk, right? Barely played. Kelly Oubre, massive chalk. Gotten some foul trouble. Let's see. Bones Highland, massive chalk. 70%, right? So Bones was 70%, and I believe Campazzo was 1% in this tournament. Yeah, Campazzo, 1%. Bones, 70%. Should that have been the case? No, it definitely shouldn't have. But like I said, you're seeing the good plays go over-owned in GPPs. But this is the winning lineup. So Rozier had a really solid game. I know he had been kind of quiet of late. Buddy Hield, I didn't know what to make of the Pacers and their rotation, but he got big minutes. He almost went for a triple-double, too. Can we talk about that? 16, 9, and 8 for a normally score-independent Buddy Hield. Hey, good for him. O'Shea Brissett absolutely went off, too, for 42 fantasy points. But the times that I've played him at low ownership, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. So happy for Brissett and all those that played him. And then LaMelo, Vassell, and DeJounte Murray, who are all pretty popular in higher stakes contests. All right, guys, so let's talk about this 10-gamer. We'll start off on the Memphis side. So John Morant, if he had the salary, I have no issue going to him. It's one of the best possible matchups. He's going to play mid-30s minutes. There have been a lot of blowouts recently. Blowout here, blowout here, blowout here. So I'm not really worried about these minutes. Triple J and Bane do have upside, but they seem priced about right. We almost saw a triple-double for Steven Adams last game, which is just a little bit absurd. So kind of feels like a chase going to Adams. Clark will play the backup 5. I mean, he's fine. Him and Adams are going to kind of split those center minutes. But the rest of the rotation are kind of spreading out the minutes, so I don't know if I get to anyone else on the Memphis side. But on the Charlotte side, once again, there's a lot to like here, right? So they're just running an extremely tight rotation. So like the main 4 guys I think all look pretty good. LaMelo, Rozier, and Bridges are the guys that have the highest upside. I think all 3 of these guys look good. Again, Rozier, I swear there's like no in between, right? He's either like busting for you or he's absolutely going off like he did tonight. So the main 3 guys I like for Charlotte. Again, I'm expecting big minutes for all 3. I would say 35 plus at least. Oubre got in some foul trouble at 6.4K. I think he'll be a lot lower owned in this slate than he was tonight, where he was massive chalk. But I still think we get 35 plus minutes from Oubre, so I'm still fine with him. I do think the ownership drops. As far as the bigs go, it's a little bit trickier to get to the likes of like Plumlee and Washington, because we do have Harrell played about 22 minutes off the bench. So those 3 are fine options, but I don't know if there's one guy that stands out there. We did see a little bit of James Bouknight. They finally dusted him off and played him like 15 minutes. Don't know if it's going to be enough for me to go to him, though. All right, Sacramento and Washington. So a lot of question marks here for Sacramento. They got like a lot of guys from trades. We don't know who's going to be available, but so we'll keep an eye on that news. But yeah, Sabonis and Fox, like I'm pretty sure these guys are going to play big minutes. So, what happens with some of these fringe guys doesn't really matter to Sabonis and Fox. I like both in a good matchup. Sabonis probably plays 35 minutes. He was good in his first game for King. And De'Aaron Fox really had a solid game with no Halliburton. They kind of unleashed him. He also got in some foul trouble and lost in a couple minutes. But I think the main guys look really good there for Sacramento. Harrison Barnes has been playing well of late. He should also see big minutes. But the price point I don't love. Again, Davion Mitchell's been a little bit up and down, but we've seen, a ceiling from him, 40 fantasy points down 2 of the last 4 games. So I do have some interest in him. I think he plays low 30s minutes. Holiday, not so much. Met too, if he starts again, is fine. But again, he was not in the closing lineup, only played 25 minutes. And then we did see some pretty big minutes from Jeremy Lamb off the bench last game. He played 31. And we know Lamb's not a bad point per minute guy. So if all these guys that recently got traded to the Kings are not going to be available, and it's similar rotation to last game, then I do like Lamb for value. But if a lot of these guys end up playing, then the value for the Kings is going to be hard to trust, because I just have no idea what's going to happen with that rotation. On the Wizards side, as I'm going to say this about a lot of teams, we got some newly acquired players. Not sure for sure if they're going to be available, right? Like Porzingis, recently traded. He said that he's ready to play. So we will have to see. Let's just say if everyone that missed, let's just say the only guys that are available are the ones that played last game. If that is the case, then Kyle Kuzma is going to look really good at 7-9. He's going to lead the offense. Had a triple-double last game. And then the value is all going to look good. So the likes of Neto, Bryant, KCP, Denny, Rui are all going to look really, really solid. But if we have Porzingis in, again, that's one more body of the rotation. That would make the bigs a lot riskier for the likes of Bryant and for Rui, right? We have to see if Porzingis, is not any sort of limitations. They also got Ish Smith and Carey. We don't know for sure if they're going to be available. So as I said, a lot of kind of unknowns for Washington. And that's going to be the case for a lot of these teams, because we got some newly acquired players, so we're not sure for sure if they're going to be available. Spurs and Pelicans. So DeJounte Murray at 10-4. I mean, he just went for 80 fantasy points tonight. Again, without Derek White, his upside can go up. So, yeah, I like DeJounte Murray a good amount once again. Pirtle at 7-2 and Keldon Johnson 6K, both field prices about right. Once again, I like Devin Vassell at 4-2. He should start and probably play around 30 minutes. So I think he makes for a pretty good value play. We did actually see Primo play more than Lonnie Walker off the bench, which I thought was interesting. So if you want to take a shot on one of those guys at the bench, you can go to Primo. Again, Collins will play the backup 5 and probably play around 15 minutes. He's viable in a GPP setting. On the Pelican side, even though I like the matchup, I don't know if I like any of the price points here. Again, we have CJ McCollum, who's a relatively high usage player in this offense. JV and Ingram are high usage players. So I don't know if I get to anyone on the Pelican side. I mean, Hayes moved back to the bench, so a little bit hard to pay 5.4K for him. there's nothing, honestly, that really stands out for me on the Pelicans side. Moving on to Cleveland and Philadelphia. So Garland missed the game tonight. We'll keep an eye on that news. If he misses, Karis LeVert probably starts at the point, plays mid-30s minutes, and then it would be a pretty good tournament play. And we've seen big minutes from Rondo last 2 games off the bench. He played, I guess 2 of the last 3. So he played 32 2 games ago, 22 last game, and then he just played like 30 minutes off the bench tonight in a really good game. So Rondo would be a play for tournaments if Garland is out, and then the bigs and Allen, Love, and Mobley. As you guys know, like one of those guys probably has a good game, but they're more tournament plays for me. On the Philadelphia side, so Joel Embiid, I mean, he's just smashing basically every single night. So I have no issue getting to 12K Embiid. Harris and Maxey at 7, 6, and 7, 1 in a tougher spot are kind of secondary plays. The value is interesting. Like Korkmaz should still play about 30 minutes. I don't hate going back there. Again, he just really didn't shoot at all. Milton had an awful shooting game off the bench. I think he shot like 1 of 9 in 25 minutes. But those 2 I'm intrigued by for value for Philly. Don't know if I get to anyone else. Denver and Toronto. So keep an eye on Monte Moore's status. But yeah, Nikola Jokic, same thing I'll say about Embiid, right? He's really good at basketball. If the game stays competitive, he has an insane ceiling. Barton Gordon, more secondary plays. Now, again, if Morris is out, we're going to see Bones and Campazzo get that minutes bump. Now, I don't think the ownership's going to be as wide as it was tonight, right? Because obviously Campazzo outperformed Bones. So we'll see who ends up starting, but both those guards are going to be in play in Bones and in a guy like Campazzo. On the Toronto side, so we do have Thad Young is confirmed going to be available for this game. We don't know the status of Van Fleet, so it's tricky because we don't know, how exactly they're going to use Thad Young in this rotation. So if like Van Fleet is out, obviously Siakam probably gets the biggest usage bump. Him and Gary Trent Jr. Siakam got some foul trouble last game. Gary Trent Jr. just shot amazing, 15 to 26, had like 8 steals too. But he's also 7K now. And then the bigs, like I said, with Thad Young now in the mix, I don't know if I take a shot here. We'll see what they do the starting lineup. I guess whoever starts at the 5 would probably feel the best about, but yeah, that's a tough one. All right, OKC and Chicago. So the Thunder, they went on like a week stretch where they played actually a normal rotation of like playing the starters like 35 minutes and then having like an 8-9 man rotation. And now it's just like a free-for-all. All right, they played Giddey, barely played him tonight. They said for some reason he's been on a 30 minutes limit over the next few games. I have no idea why. Baisley actually saw 30-plus minutes. I think he's playable in GPPs. Again, the likes of Pokusevski's actually played pretty well off the bench. I think like him and Kenrich are viable GPP plays. Derek Favors, for those that played him last slate, I'm sure I'm very, very happy about his form performance tonight. Derek Favors went for like 30 fancy points. I think he had 16, 9, and 3 blocks. So again, I'm sure if you played him last slate, you are very, very happy for his performance tonight. But yeah, if he starts at the 5 again, I think he's playable. We didn't see a ton of run for Roby, but basically any guy in this rotation right now is the minutes are not secure for the Thunder. On the Bulls side, it's a really good matchup. Obviously some blowout risk, but the big 3 I think all have a good amount of upside in DeRozan, Vooch, and Levine. We did see Io come back at 5-6, so Kobe White still had a good game actually with Io back, but he's more of a secondary play. Same with Javonte Green. So I don't know if there's one play that stands out to me on the Chicago side, but I think the big 3 all look pretty good. Okay, Brooklyn and Miami. So a lot of question marks here for Brooklyn. We don't know the status of Seth Curry. We don't know the status of Andre Drummond. Ben Simmons still confirmed out. So Kyrie Irving, 10-2, no Kevin Durant. I think he's in play for tournaments. It's a tough matchup, and no one's really going to play him. But I think he's still like in consideration. And then as far as the rest of the value, it just depends on Seth Curry and Drummond. Like if Drummond's out, yeah, you can look to Blake Griffin at 4.8K, who probably starts and plays 25 to 30 minutes. If Drummond's in and like Drummond starts, then you can obviously play Drummond. He's a good point per minute guy. Like again, a lot of it's going to come down to news. Like Seth Curry, if he plays, sure, he's in play. If he misses, then yeah, like Patty Mills, Cam Thomas are playable options. James Johnson at 4K, probably, the value play I feel the best about right now, because I think he's going to play like 25 or so minutes. But like I said, another team where it's going to come down to news there. On the Miami side, so good matchup here. Hero is questionable. Tucker's questionable. So Jimmy, Bam, and Lowry all had big games last game. Now Lowry at 6'8", I do think gets some ownership if Hero's out. He went for 57 last game, but we have seen it a lot from Lowry this year. When they have been shorthanded, he is still disappointed a lot. But don't hate the price point. And then like if the game can stay competitive, Jimmy and Bam and Adebayo both look pretty good at their respective price points. If Hero plays, then, slight downgrade to Lowry and slight downgrade to Jimmy and Bam. As far as the value goes, if Tucker's out, then like this grouping of like Gabe, Vincent, and Duncan Robinson and Struss and Martin if he plays are viable options, but nothing that really stands out there. I will mention, I'm not saying he's playable, but we did see a little bit of Yurt Goat 7 play alongside Bam, which I thought was pretty interesting. All right, Clippers and Mavs. So Clippers side, we have Powell's status up in the air, which is actually somewhat significant. Like Powell was playing big minutes for this team. Played 34 minutes last game. So if he misses, that's going to open up some more run for some of these secondary plays. But in a competitive game, I do think we see over 30 minutes of Marcus Morris and Reggie Jackson. So those two I think are fine for GPPs. Again, we saw 33 minutes from Reggie last game. We saw 32 from Marcus Morris. Covington was basically out of the rotation last game. He played 10 minutes, but if there's no Powell, I would assume he gets more run. I don't think Rodney Hood's going to be in the rotation. Now, Terrence Mann has actually been getting consistent run off the bench. He's been playing some of the backup point, 25, 26, and 31 minutes over the last 3 games. So I do like Terrence Mann for value. And then I think the likes of like Batum and Kennard are interesting as well, especially if Powell can't go. Nick Batum, 23, 28 minutes last couple games. Again, I just want to say these minutes are not secure. But if we see like mid-20s minutes for both Kennard and Batum, I think they're viable options. As far as the bigs go, again, you'll see some Zubac, you'll see a little bit of Hartenstein, but they can go small. And they did against Dallas, right? We saw 26 minutes from Zubac. We only saw, I think, like 6 minutes from Hartenstein. And then we saw them go small. So, outside of really, if Powell plays, outside of Powell, Morris, and Reggie, the minutes are a lot more in question for these Clippers guys. On the Dallas side, so hard not to like Luka for what he's doing right now. Playing like 40 minutes a game, just absolutely has killed the Clippers so far in his career. So, yeah, obviously Luka looks good. Dinwiddie, we don't know if he's going to play. We don't know if Bertans is going to play. If they're both out, I still don't know if it opens up much for me. It's kind of just like Luka and that's it. I guess the value play I would consider would probably be Maxi Kleber. Played 27 minutes last game. Like if we see mid-20s minutes from a 3.8K Kleber, I think that's totally fine. Lakers and Warriors, another team with some question marks. So LeBron and Westbrook, both questionable, AD probable. I would say both LeBron and Westbrook play, but obviously we'll monitor the news. Golden State's been pretty solid defensively, so I think LeBron, AD, more contrarian spend-ups. I don't know if I get to anyone else. Monk has been a little bit up and down of late. THT, if Westbrook is out, I think is a playable value, but not a lot that stands out to me on the Lakers side. On the Warriors side, again, Steph Curry always been played for tournaments. Klay Thompson's minutes have been bumped up to around 30. I think he looks pretty good at 6.6K. He's going to get a good amount of shot attempts up, but not a ton else that really stands out. Like I think Looney probably plays maybe 25 to 30 minutes in this game. I will mention Bjelica off the bench. First game back, he played about 20 minutes. He's not a bad point per minute guy, and if something happens to Looney, some foul trouble, you probably see Bjelica coming in. So in a large field tournament, I think he's interesting. And finally, another kind of gross late night hammer, Orlando and Phoenix. So Cole Anthony, Carter Jr., Suggs, all in play for tournaments. I think my favorite of the three probably is going to be Cole. Franz, Bamba, more secondary plays. Now, I will mention Bamba did play 31 minutes tonight. The stats aren't updated, but like if he plays 30 minutes again, then he has upside. But his minutes have been kind of all over the place recently, and I don't think I get to any of the value plays in Orlando. And finally, the Phoenix Suns. So if the team can stay competitive, I mean, these guys have upside, right? Chris Paul, Devin Booker, they probably play around 40 minutes in competitive games. So those two look okay. DeAndre Ayton at 6'7" in a good matchup, I think probably plays around 30 minutes, which makes him a decent option. Bridges feels a little bit pricey. I think Crowder's fine. We do have Torrey Craig, who we'll see if he's going to be available. If he is, that's going to make the minutes riskier for those wings. And then like McGee, we saw Biyombo in the rotation too. He didn't get all the backup 5 run, which is a little bit concerning, but he's always a dart throw in GPPs. But yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the video. So if you have been enjoying the content and if you have been enjoying the DK's Day streams, hope you guys have been enjoying those. Those are streams. Again, midday where we'll talk about, everything DFS, Top Shot, Prize Picks. So you guys can check those out. They are, you can go back and watch them if you want, but hope you guys have been enjoying the DFS content in those streams. Again, if you do enjoy, just make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. But thanks again, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you in the next video.